Yuki Tsunoda's future outside of Red Bull is becoming a more and more realistic scenario, and after the latest statements from Marko and Alonso, there is a very high chance that the new technical era will see Aston Martin with a new lineup as well. Horner's stance on Tsunoda being 5 years in the sister team and not actually benefiting with a promotion said everything we need to know regarding the stance of Red Bull for Tsunoda. But is Aston Martin his next destination? And if so, what are the factors that would play a huge role in this transfer? There is no secret that the greatest controversy and debate has been raised regarding Lawson's promotion to Red Bull instead of Tsunoda. Even though Horner admitted that it was very close and the diversity of Lawson is what got him the lead for the photo finish, that is still, of course, bad news for Tsunoda. The Japanese driver has been compared to Hadjar, the man who is yet to drive a full F1 race, with Horner stating that the Frenchman has a lot of talent and has been the faster driver in the post-season Abu Dhabi test. This has been the anticipation towards what is more or less inevitable from this point on: Tsunoda's future outside of Red Bull. By the looks of it, the Austrian team is now ready to get back to their own roots and promote from within their own academy after the spell of Perez has cost them a lot in the Constructors' Championship in 2024. The sad part for Tsunoda is that he will always be looked at as Honda's protege instead of a proper candidate for the Red Bull seat. Now, the Austrian team has already thought about a replacement for Tsunoda in Racing Bulls, stating that it might be their side that's willing to push things to an end sooner rather than later. Autoracer, a renowned Italian outlet that is very close to Formula One teams, has talked to Helmut Marko, who is reportedly willing to bring in another young talent next to Hadjar to replace Tsunoda, and his name is Arvid Lindblad. If we go back in time a bit, Marko had a lot of praiseful words for the youngster, saying that he might be the next Verstappen. If there is a driver who is capable of doing what the four-time world champion is currently doing, it's Lindblad. Lindblad competed in Formula 3 last year and was the youngest driver in the championship. On top of that, he managed to finish in 4th place in the Drivers' Championship. Now, he has been promoted to Formula 2 and will drive for Campos Racing in F2. And before that, he will have a stint in the Formula Regional Oceania Championship, which is a move that adds more points to his super license. This pattern of behavior tells us that Red Bull is ready to go with a very young core when it comes to their sister team, Racing Bulls, as they are now slowly but surely working on a very interesting situation, becoming an independent squad that will fight for high points but still be highly reliant on Red Bull and their academy drivers. When addressing the talent of Lindblad and how much trust the team has in him, Marko said, "So basically, it's a great pleasure and enjoyment to work with Max, but Max won't drive forever, especially not as long as Alonso or Hamilton are doing. And the junior team's prospect is to find new talents. We are not looking for a new Max. We are looking for a new champion. And I think the next one, which looks really promising, is Arvid Lindblad. His father is Swedish and his mother is Indian, so it's a very serene combination. What makes him outstanding is his pure speed. In one of the Formula 3 races, he overtook 10 or 14 other drivers in one lap. He won the race from being last in these tricky conditions. But again, there have been tons of drivers who showed a lot of promise in the lower series, and when the pressure has been applied to performing in Red Bull or any other F1 teams, it's something that doesn't correlate with what they've been showing as talent and raw speed so far. Nevertheless, the future for Tsunoda is now more or less guaranteed to be outside of Red Bull. And a hint regarding this question might have been given by Alonso, who opened up about the retirement process that is earlier than we could possibly imagine. Although the two-time world champion is feeling great and is devoted to the Aston Martin project now that tons of resources have been invested in the Silverstone-based squad, his age is not something that he could revert back, and therefore we should expect a replacement coming sooner rather than later. Knowing Honda and the devotion they have towards their drivers, it's obviously something that needs to be considered. Even Alonso himself acknowledges that age has caught up with him, and it's clear a replacement will eventually take his place. What Alonso is doing with Aston Martin can be considered both noble and graceful, as he prepares the team for a future of greatness, assuming they are ready to capitalize on the opportunities ahead. The resources are certainly in place, the personnel are fitting perfectly, and all they need is a driver, or two, capable of extracting the full potential of the car. However, behind closed doors, a sad reality lingers. One seat at Aston Martin is virtually secured as long as Lawrence Stroll owns the team. Unfortunately, that driver isn't showing a willingness to improve significantly because his seat is guaranteed, leaving little incentive to step out of his comfort zone. If the second seat is filled by a driver who understands the car and its needs, especially someone with prior experience working with Honda or Naval, Lawrence Stroll may face pressure to add a strong, competitive teammate alongside Yuki Tsunoda. This could lead to the realization that his son, Lance, simply isn't F1 material. Meanwhile, with the latest statements from Christian Horner, it's becoming increasingly clear that Coda may need to seek a seat elsewhere. At this point, there seems to be little he can do to secure a spot next to Verstappen. While Coda expressed readiness to be Verstappen's teammate and performed well during the Abu Dhabi tests, providing the team with valuable data, his lack of technical expertise and lingering emotions might be the key reasons Red Bull is leaning toward promoting drivers from within their inner circles. Coda did outperform Lawson in qualifying during 2024 with a 6-0 record, yet this wasn't enough for him to secure the seat Red Bull had promised would go to the better driver over the last 6 races of the season. Despite Lawson's promotion to Red Bull Racing, Coda's future within the team remains uncertain. Speaking about Coda's future, Horner remarked, "Honda is an important partner for us, but we are a customer of Honda. Of course, we consult Honda in the decision-making process, and I'm sure they would have loved Yuki to have been in the car during the last year of their agreement with Red Bull Racing. However, Honda has always refused to get involved in driver lineups. They've always left that choice to the team. We are acutely aware that if we're not able to provide an opportunity for Yuki, in all honesty, this year, does it make sense? You can't have a driver in the support team for 5 years. You know, you can't always be the bridesmaid. You've either got to let them go at that point or look at something different." Considering all of this, what do you think about Coda potentially finding a new home at Aston Martin? More importantly, do you think he could be the one to replace the aging Alonso, who has openly admitted he won't be in the sport much longer? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're curious about Verstappen's shocking statement regarding his driving style in 2025, check out the video appearing on your screen right now.